As far as a fun franchise experience go, NBA 2K23 has currently, in my opinion, the best franchise mode in sports gaming. In order to help my fellow franchisers out, I decided to start a little series on the best young players to trade for. With that being said, here are the top 5 modern era sleeper point guards that you should trade for. At number 5, I have Jordan McLaughlin of the Minnesota Timberwolves. McLaughlin is entering his 4th year with Minnesota after going undrafted at USC. McLaughlin is 26 years old currently and in the final official year of his contract, though he does have a team option after this season. McLaughlin's the main backup to D'Angelo Russell, so he doesn't get a ton of minutes, if any at all, so the Timberwolves would probably be more than willing to trade him. McLaughlin wants to play for the winner and he wants financial security as well, but he is loyal, and he most likely will test free agency after the first season. Looking at his stats, he hasn't really put up many numbers since his rookie season in Minnesota, but if you do trade for him, maybe you can get him some more minutes so he can produce a little bit more. His mid-range and three-point scoring isn't great, but he's a decent inside scorer and is pretty good as a playmaker and a perimeter defender. His max potential is at a 79 and his peak end age is at 29, so he only really has 3 years to develop for the most part, and he doesn't have any badges, so that's the downside. But he does have a work ethic badge and keep it real as well, so he reacts well to tough love. And he does have a team option next year, so you can bring him back if you'd like to. And he's a 2-star caliber, so he's not going to be relatively hard to trade for either. So if you want a point guard who's low risk, high reward, McLaughlin might be the guy that you want to go after. At number 4, we have another point guard who went undrafted, Gabe Vincent from the Miami Heat. Vincent started to be more productive over the past few years for Miami, but with Kyle Lowry holding down the point guard spot, and with Tyler Hero starting to get more minutes at point guard as well, the Heat may be willing to part with Vincent for the right price. Playing for a winner isn't overly important to him, but he does want financial security, and he is loyal as well, and he might even re-sign with the Heat if you don't trade for him early enough. He did average 8.7 points per game on 23 minutes per game as well last year, so he does have an increased role with Miami, but they could be willing to part with him. While his playmaking is pretty good, he's mainly a 3-level scorer. He's really good in the mid-range, his 3-point shot is pretty good as well. But his problem is really perimeter defense, but he does have very high potential and he has 4 shooting badges, Catch and Shoot, Claymore, Green Machine, and Midi Magician. So this is somebody who can contribute right away for you. He has 3 personality badges as well, and Pat My Back, Reserved, and Work Ethic. And he's on the last year of his deal over in Miami as well, so trading for Vincent shouldn't be overly hard at all. He's only a 2-star prospect as well, so if you want a relatively young point guard who can develop for a few more years, Vincent might be the guy you're looking for. At number 3, we have Payton Pritchard. In his 3rd year from Oregon, he was the 26th overall pick in 2020. But with Marcus Smart being the starting point guard in Boston, Pritchard really hasn't had the chance to really show what he can do. Playing for a winner is somewhat important to him. Financial security is important to him. And his loyalty is, well, loyal. His points per game and minutes per game did go down in 2021-22, but he did increase his assists per game, so he could be a valuable asset. He is more of a diamond sharpshooter. He has a really good 3-point shot as well as his mid-range shot, and he's a pretty good playmaker, but not a great perimeter defender, but he does have a lot of potential, so that is somebody that you could absolutely develop. He has 3 bronze badges in Giant Slayer, Midi Magician, and Needle Threader. And his personality traits are Pat My Back and Work Ethic. And he does have a team option next year for $4.04 million. So if he does well in the first year you trade for him, you could bring him back. And just like Vincent and McLaughlin, you're not going to really have to give up anything huge to get Pritchard on your team. At number 2, you have one of my favorite players in the league, in Ayo Dosunmu. He was a 2nd-team All-Rookie player last year in his first year out of Illinois, and he only has 1 year left on his contract after being a 2nd-round pick in 2021. And with Lonzo Ball being the guy in Chicago with Goran Dragic backing him up, Dosunmu could be on the market. Playing for a winner is somewhat important to him, and financial security is definitely very important to him, but he's extremely loyal and he might even re-sign with Chicago if a trade isn't made for him. He averaged 8.8 points per game last season, 2.8 rebounds per game, and 3.3 assists per game in 27 minutes, and he's essentially the sixth man for the team. Dosunmu might actually be a good option if you want to move him to shooting guard. He has a really good mid-range shot and his three-point shot's pretty good. And he's a very good playmaker, and his perimeter defense is pretty good as well, and he still has plenty of potential. Dosunmu's only badge is Midi Magician, but he can definitely get developed into having more badges as well. He's only 22 years old, so there's still plenty of upside to getting him. And he has work ethic, keep it real, and laid back as his personality traits. And as I mentioned, he only has 1 year left on his contract, so he could re-sign with Chicago, or you could make a deal for him early on as well. His prestige is 2.5 stars, so he's going to be a little bit more expensive than the other three guys that I mentioned earlier, but if you really want to build around a really young but really talented point guard, Ayo Dosunmu might be your man. And last but not least, we have Cole Anthony at number 1. He's heading into his third season out of North Carolina after a really injury-riddled rookie season, but Anthony has the potential to be one of the best point guards in the league. Playing for a winner is important to him, and financial security is somewhat important, but he's very loyal as well and could end up re-signing with the Magic after this season. He averaged 16.3 points per game last year with 5.4 rebounds per game and 5.7 assists per game in 31 minutes played. Offensively, Anthony's strength is inside scoring. He's pretty good on the drive. He's just not a very good shooter, but he's an excellent playmaker, a solid perimeter defender, and he's actually a pretty good rebounder for a point guard. And his basketball IQ, potential, and athleticism is great as well. He has 6 badges: Giant Slayer, Agent 3, Clutch Shooter, Space Creator, Bailout, and Mismatch Expert. And his personality traits are work ethic, alpha dog, expressive, and pat my back. The Magic aren't going to be a contending team anytime soon, so they could end up looking to trade some of their assets. And for the right price, Cole Anthony could be somebody that you could trade for if you want to build around a really young point guard with a lot of potential. And I put him at number 1 because I feel like out of these 5, he absolutely has the highest ceiling out of any of them. And to be honest, if I could start my Wizards MyNBA all over again, I'd probably trade for him instead of DeJounte Murray. So that is my list. Let me know in the comment section if you think I missed anybody, and who would you trade for out of these 5? Let me know down in the comment section below, and make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the sub button if you're new as well, and turn your notifications on to join the notification gang. That way, every time I upload a video from this series or any other series, you guys will be notified. And we're going to keep it rolling here on Cast Great Gaming. If you want to see more from the channel, check out the playlist and the video in front of you.